Do you find the time it takes Earth to spin around each day a little slow? Well, how about we speed things up? A lot. What would happen to the length of our day? What geographical and climate changes would occur? And at what point would life on Earth cease to exist? The Earth makes one full rotation on its axis every 23 hours, 56 minutes and 4.1 seconds. And it's not moving at the same speed everywhere. The rotational speed varies depending on your distance to the poles. If you're at the equator, it moves the fastest at a rate of 460 meters per second, 1,000 miles per hour. At the North and South Pole, it's moving the slowest. Technically, it's not moving at all. This rotation makes Earth suitable for life. The diurnal cycle, or the shifting between day and night, helps keep the planet at a habitable temperature. Earth's rotation is the driving force of weather patterns. Even tides are affected by the Earth's spin. So if we were to accelerate this rotation, would we completely destabilize the climate? If you increase the rotational speed by 0.45 meters per second, 1 mile per hour, our days would be shorter. But only by a minute and a half. You might not even notice the change. But even with this slight increase, sea levels would rise by several centimeters or a few inches. The water around the poles would migrate toward the equator. If you increase this acceleration to 45 meters per second, 100 miles per hour, a single day would be about 22 hours. You'd start to feel confused, almost like jet lag. We'd also need to add a few more days to the year. But for sea levels, it would be a dramatic change. The world's oceans at the equator would rise as much as 9 to 20 meters, 30 to 65 feet. Places like New York City, Venice and Mumbai would be submerged. Millions of people would be displaced. If we doubled the current rotation speed to 920 meters per second, 2,000 miles per hour, disaster would strike. Water would cover everything except for the highest mountains, such as Kilimanjaro or the highest summits of the Andes. Satellites orbiting the planet would be out of sync as they orbit at a speed that matches the rotation. That would disrupt communications, television broadcasting and military operations. You would notice some significant weather changes. The air would be heavy with moisture. Dense fog, clouds and constant rain would be the norm in regions near the equator. If you keep speeding things up, at some point, you could fly off the planet. That's because the centrifugal force of the rotation would be enough to overcome the gravity keeping you on the surface. This would happen at a speed of 7,886 meters per second, 17,641 miles per hour. You would experience reverse rain. Droplets of water would move upward in the atmosphere instead of falling. If you push the speed to 11,000 meters per second, 24,000 miles per hour, the Earth's crust would begin to flatten at the poles and bulge around the equator. Enormous earthquakes would rattle the planet. There would be little chance anything on Earth could survive. But if you were to crank the velocity up more, like the speed of light, things would get wild. If the Earth rotated at a speed of 299,792 kilometers per second, 186,282 miles per second, that would be 652,000 times faster than today. The dimensions of the planet would change. Once a sphere, Earth would contract into a thin disc-like shape. So would you, along with every other object. You could say it would become a flat Earth. Rotating at this extreme speed would distort time on Earth. It would slow down so much that it would eventually stop. You would freeze in time. So hopefully, you would be caught in a good moment. Earth could become a tiny black hole. That's because an object moving at the speed of light has an infinite mass. Nothing would be making it out of this situation alive. What will? If the Earth were spinning at the speed of light, several things would happen, most of which are not physically possible. Firstly, it's important to note that the speed of light is the universal speed limit in the universe. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, according to Einstein's theory of relativity. This means that the Earth cannot spin at the speed of light, as it violates the laws of physics. However, if we were to hypothetically assume that the Earth could spin at the speed of light, several things would happen. Firstly, the Earth's mass would become infinite, which would cause a number of issues, such as the Earth collapsing into a black hole due to its infinite mass. Secondly, the length of the day would become infinitely short, as time dilation effects would occur. This means that from an observer's perspective outside the Earth, time would appear to have stopped, while from the perspective of someone on the Earth, time would appear to be moving normally. Thirdly, the Earth's atmosphere would be stripped away due to the enormous centrifugal forces generated by the high speed of rotation. This would make it impossible for life to exist on the Earth. Overall, the idea of the Earth spinning at the speed of light is not possible within the laws of physics, and even if it were possible, the consequences would be catastrophic.